Hello, 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 and welcome to LRGA Curves this morning. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you, Curvies, for being here. Happy Wednesday, June 14th. It's 8 o'clock out here in California. And if you haven't already, hit the bell, smash the like button, and if you're not subscribed, get subscribed because over here on YouTube, we are growing a beautiful community and I love y'all and I want it to keep on growing. So I'm speaking my word and making it plain. Asking ye shall receive. That is the lesson of the day. Also, if you noticed in the tag, in the thumbnail, it is story time. And when life gives you lemons, y'all need to make a lemon drop. Okay? Okay. And I'm going to tell you what I did with my lemon drop. So, how is everybody? How's everybody doing? I have a couple of things. Let me see. I like background music. You know, your girl is actually a house head. House head. I used to love house music all night long. Yes. I kind of like this one. Just so I don't feel like I'm alone in the studio. If you happen to hear traffic, I decided to change the location of where I was doing my recording this morning in my house. Like I do have my Zen Den, as you guys know, and sometimes I tape in my bedroom. But it's such a glorious morning that I decided to bring it downstairs to the front of the house so that I can people watch and get some of this morning breeze. Because you know, Mama runs hot even in the morning time. And yeah, so if you excuse any cars. Oh yeah. And if you don't know, now you know, that's Neon. Neon, Neon, you're gonna say, yeah, there is Neon. Neon is my parakeet, and Neon has been with me since 2017. I got her when she was fresh, like a brand new, I don't know, do you call new birds puppies? No. But it was basically a puppy when I got it because she had just been born. And I'm going to tell you a little story because today's title is story time, right? So, how I came to get Neon, the parakeet, and her sister Sky, they were both from the same bird lady. And she lived in Napa, California, and I was working in Napa. And and I used to do property management, you guys. I did real estate, property management, and now I help make people's families financially independent and stuff like that. So it's all part of the same thing. Anyway, back to Neon. So there was this resident, and every time I would go to her house, she would just chat it up with me, and she had birds. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to have a parakeet and train her to get on my hand and my shoulder and just, have a bird. I love birds, right? And she was like, oh my gosh, my mom totally breeds birds. And all the parakeets here in my house are from my mom. And I was like, no way, really? I was like, well, can I buy one from her? And she was like, yeah, let me talk to her about it. So that conversation happened. And then I don't know if you're familiar or not, but in 2017, California was on fire, y'all. And there was the Napa fires, and they were overtaking California. And her mom was actually under order of evacuation. This is after our conversation, after I say I wanted a bird. And she was like, oh, well, my mom is trying to save her birds, but she can't take them all. So do you mind? She doesn't want to sell them to you. She just wants to give you these birds because we're trying to save as many as possible before the fire gets to her house. I was like, well, definitely. So the lady her mom ended up packing up 2 birds in a cage with all the supplies in her car on the day of the evacuation, brought it to her daughter because her daughter was in a safe zone, brought me the birds. I take the birds home in a smoke-filled car because there was no freaking air to be had. And that's how I came to get Neon. Basically, it's a rescue puppy because I saved her from the fires, because her mom thought to save her from the fires. Actually, the lady's house never got burned or anything, but the smoke was not a good situation for those little bird lungs. And so that's Neon over there. And every time I start talking, she start talking. So you might hear her go, bah, 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 bah. That means she had a lot to say about whatever it was I just said. Anyway, so that's Neon and that's the traffic. Wanted to explain that to you guys real quick. Mademoiselle H, hello, good morning, Grand Rising, Robin's hatchlings. Oh, hatchlings. Thank you, Candor. Yes, that makes sense because if a baby eagle is an eaglet, then a parakeet is a hatchling. Yes, yes. Okay, so she was a little hatchling, and her sister was the scared one. So Neon, I call her Neon because she's neon yellow with neon green. And her sister was Sky, all white with blue under her wings, right? So I called her Sky, like, a blue sky with white clouds. Anyway, it was vice versa though. But Sky was the scary one and in charge, obviously, and would never get on my finger. I had that burst in 2017, and rest in peace. The bird just passed the end of last year. And I was devastated at that. But as soon as Sky left, Neon gets on my finger, talks to me, eats out of my hand, sits with me. She was like, we can finally be together. But I know she also misses her sister, so she's just wants some comfort. Anyway, that's the Neon story. I wanted to talk to you guys about a couple of other things too. Like I said, the title is When Life Gives You Lemons, Make a Lemon Drop. Because sometimes you need something stronger than lemonade. Now look, I'm not a drinker because all I do these days is go to sleep. I've never really been one of those drinkers. It's like, yeah, and like shakes up the beer and chug, 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 chug. None of that. And it's just not my thing. Like, I like to be in control. I like to remember. I don't like to have to blame it on the alcohol. I prefer to be in more control. I guess I'm a control freak, you guys. And I prefer to be in a little more control than, hey, Hubs, than the alcohol allows it, And as a matter of fact, truth be told, even when I used to go dancing all night to house music, house clubs are open later. So I would like to get there after they stop serving alcohol, Forget that. I'm not hanging out with no drunk people. Yes. Let me stop that. Huh. Yeah, so there's that. What else did I want to talk to you about? I just got distracted super bad. Okay, so yesterday, the 13th, it wasn't Friday the 13th, but in some crazy stuff happened to your girl yesterday. Crazy. Okay? Crazy. So I'm on this fitness thing, right? The 5 F's: faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. It's part of our mantra for this business that I'm doing. And in keeping with the 5 F's, my business is thriving, right? So fitness is on the list and family's on the list. So yesterday morning, I get up with a bee in my bonnet, you guys. And I'm like, we're going to play tennis because my oldest son started tennis lessons last Friday and he loves tennis. And so we went and played tennis on Saturday. And then he's like, Mom, can we go early in the morning tomorrow and play tennis? Which was yesterday morning. I said, yeah, sure. So I get up early, and even though they were still very asleep from playing video games all night the night before, because it's summertime, I was like, you guys are getting up now. Let's go play tennis. You guys can come back and take a nap later. I promise. And they were like, okay, fine. They dragged their little sleepy heads out of bed. I go downstairs. I tell husband, I say, husband, I'm going to take the boys to go play tennis. Are you going to be able to rock? And he's like, well, I'll meet you there. I was like, okay, cool. So we get to the tennis court, arrive safe and sound. Both tennis courts happen to be open, whereas the pickleball courts all were occupied. If you guys don't know about pickleball, now you do. I don't know what's up with this pickleball. It looks like racquetball with a wiffle ball bat with a wiffle ball. But people play it and they love it. And I like their vibe. They be having the music going. I was listening to they're playing all the oldies yesterday. Michael Jackson. Do you remember the 21st of September? And like a virgin. Woo! They were doing all the licks yesterday. It was so cool. And so I was like listening to the music. They were playing tennis, and I brought my mom's dog. Those of you know that I've been watching LL. My mom's dog has been staying with us for a couple of weeks, and so I decided to take LL, not Milo, to the tennis park, which is a huge thing, and it has a fancy dog park, waterworks, tennis, basketball, huge park. We live in a great neighborhood. So we get over there, and it's a safe enough park where I'm like, okay, boys, you start warming up on tennis. I'm going to take LL over to the dog park. And I walk over to the dog park with my parasol, and I'm over there for a good half hour, come back over, get my couple of rounds of tennis in with the boys. We're just volleying the ball and going and picking up the balls that we don't hit, basically, because mama used to play tennis. But the pivot on these knees, now that I'm older, I'm like, oop, that got by me, didn't it? Oop, that got by me. Don't worry about it, guys. Let's just focus on the balls here, you know? And so we were just having a good, excellent morning in the sunshine, moving our bodies, being with family, taking turns going and grabbing the tennis balls. It was a beautiful, beautiful morning. Totally vibing, you guys. So then everybody finally gets enough of the tennis. We were out there we were there till 12 noon. And like I said, I had got up early for us to go. So it was a good 9 o'clock when we left. And it just turned into that much time because we were having so much fun. And so the boys were like, yeah, we're hungry. It's time for lunch. Okay, let's go. They wanted to go try Dave's Hot Chicken. Those who know. And so we had looked it up. And husband, since he had driven to meet us there, he was in a car behind us. And I kept waiting for him. And son was like, Mom, he knows how to get here. He's the one that brought me to tennis practice. Like, you don't have to wait for dad. He knows how to get home. And just, I'm cute. I was like, oh, I just want him to know I'm waiting for him. And plus, we got to tell him we decided to go to Dave's Hot Chicken and see if he wants anything, right? So I ended up pulling over after I waited for him at a number of stop signs. I end up pulling over right before the street we need to turn on and flagging down. And I'm like, we're going to get Dave's Hot. You want anything? And he's like, yeah. And we're like, how hot? And he's like, nuclear. We're like, are you sure? Because you didn't even finish the 50-50 barbecue sauce on the Max barbecue the other day, which ended up, I guess the 50-50, y'all, was that they were mixing it with hot and hot as hell, because I had to rinse the freaking barbecue off to eat the barbecue because the sauce was so freaking hot. And I can eat hot stuff. I can stand a little sizzle, but it was unbearably hot, this barbecue sauce the other day. So when he says he wants it nuclear and there's still barbecue sauce and the other sauced ribs still in the refrigerator, we're like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, I want nuclear. I was like, okay. So then he ends up going ahead of me. And now I'm behind him. He turns into traffic. And then part of what me and sons do, and part of like how I keep my vision high, is when I want to change my lifestyle, or when I'm like dreaming about what's next for our family, like what house, what car, what vibe, like I go and see that and try to experience it, right? So we live in a pretty nice house right now, but I'd like more land on the house. We want to own our house. We want to do all this other stuff. So near the park where we were, it was called Oasis Park, by the way, and it was very oasis. And there ended up being across the road magnificent palatial houses with fancy smancy cars in the driveway. And my sons had noticed this bright yellow car, and they were like, ooh, look at that Ferrari. And I was like, oh, we can go see it after tennis. So in addition to going and getting Dave's Hot, we were going to see this car now, which is directly across this super busy parkway. So I make a complete stop. And after I make a complete stop, I proceed, and a car was turning onto the street I was coming off of. And there ended up being a teeny tiny car on the other side in his blind spot that I didn't see. And that car didn't see me. And so after I stopped, proceeded, he saw me, he tried to swerve. We ended up in a huge kaplow, a collision. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? I stopped short of full impact. The man's car went up on two wheels on the side, went up on the median, and came down and rolled over directly to the side of the street out of traffic. And I was like literally in the middle of the street. And I was like expecting not to be able to move from that, right? Okay, Daddy. And so what ended up happening though was my car wasn't even scratched, you guys, hardly. His car had full on, couldn't move, was not movable. The back tire, gone. I was like, oh my God, kids, are you okay? Yeah, the dog's okay, everybody's okay. 1 second longer and it could have been a whole other situation, right? So there's a lemon. Oh, bonjour, Sarah. I need to talk to you, Sarah. I need to talk to you. Bonjour. So that was one of the lemons, right? And the LemonDrop that we decided to make it ended up being an old man. And he gets out of his car and we go over to him. And my husband, he heard the impact. Like I said, he had already turned onto the street. He heard the impact. My son calls in. He's like, Dad, that was us. That was us. Come back. My dad, the husband hit a U-turn. He comes back. He ends up coming right over to the guy. And we were like, we didn't have no idea what was about to happen because, you know, when your family is hurt, of course, your inclination is to blame the other person. But I had the stop sign, you guys. The man was in the flow of traffic. And so, and even though it was a blind situation, the flow of traffic is the flow of traffic. So husband goes over and he's helping the man. And then he comes over to us, make sure we're okay, gets my license and registration. And I was just so shaken up. I couldn't really focus on what needed to be focused on just because of the adrenaline pumping in my veins, just like my heartbeat was in my eyes, my ears, my chest. I'm worried. I was just like, it could have been so much worse, but it wasn't. So now it's time to do what we need to do. So the kids are like, well, Mom, since we're okay, can we still go look at the car? And it was literally across the street. And we had already passed the parkway. So I was like, yeah, sure. You guys were obviously going to be here for a minute. Go ahead, walk down there, look at the car, come back. So now I'm calling the insurance. The man was calling 911. Husband's running back and forth across the parkway. I'm supposed to be keeping an eye on the kids. And all of a sudden the kids disappear. I'm like, Lord, the house is right there. I'm looking at the yellow car. I'm expecting to see the kids across the street looking at the car. And I didn't see the kids. I was like, oh, snap. The kids walked into a paradigm shift and they're freaking in a portal or something. Where are my kids? So now I'm like, oh, I didn't hear no screams. I'm like, where are these boys? But then yes, Neon, exactly. Then at the very end of the thing, that little area had another park. And so now I'm thinking, oh, the kids definitely went down there to that other park. We're good. Everything's fine. So because now I made it across the parkway, and because now my car was still operable and movable, I'm not letting nothing stop me. And our intention was to go look at these cars in this house. So since I had to check and see if the kids was at that new park anyway, I politely drove over there and looked at all the houses we were going to look at, stopped in front of the house with a very nice Ferrari, and I think that other rare car was a Corvette. Super duper shiny. Their whole layout was very nice. Very nice. Added greatly to my visioning. Okay. And because it made me think I do need a tandem driveway with another tandem for the RV, for the sports cars, and the other garage. Yeah, that could be nice. We could use that, right? But you know what? When I got down to that park, I didn't see the boys. I was like, oh shit. But I knew they were there. So I ended up going back across the street to the scene of the accident. and get out of the car. The man whose car is totaled walks up to me, shakes my hand. I was like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yes." He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Are your kids okay?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Whoa." He said, "Oh, and he had some kind of really thick accent, very thick accent. And so we're calling 911. 911, as it turned out, was like, "Oh, is anybody hurt?" Nope. They were like, "Well, we're not coming. You guys go ahead and call the insurance companies. We don't need to come. Just call. We'll have insurance work it out." Okay. So now he's on the phone with his insurance company. I'm on the phone with my insurance company. And I get out of the car for mine because he needed like the license plate number of the other car. So I go over there on my phone to the man's car, and my agent, my insurance, person was like, "Oh, well, what's the person's name?" Oh, so the man is telling in my phone, he's like, "My name is this," and he kept, "Jose Cavacara, Jose Josefara, 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 Josefara," just a super thick accent, right? And I couldn't quite tell like who he was or what ethnicity or anything, because he was brown like me, but this accent wasn't like an African kind of accent. But he didn't appear to be black. And his accent was so thick that my insurance person was like, "Does he need an interpreter?" And I was like, do you need an interpreter? He said, no, only speak English, only speak English. I'm like, okay, no, he only speaks English. He's like, well, I can't understand him really. So the man was nice enough to like hand me his license so we could get all the information and take everything down. So then his insurance company ended up needing the same information. And the same problem happened where they couldn't understand a word he said. So here we are on the side of the road after a fabulous morning of tennis with the lemons life has given us, making a lemon drop out of the situation by helping instead of being angry about what obviously we can't be angry about it, right, LL? Because it already happened. Thank God everybody's okay. And so his insurance person is like, "Oh, you're not our person?" I was like, "No, I'm trying to help him because of his accent." She's like, "Oh my God." She said, "I've been doing this for years and I have never had the other party help out so much." She said, "I'm going to bring this up in a meeting." This is crazy. She said, "It's so awesome to meet just a nice person. Today's world is just so mean and you're really standing there helping him." She said, "Usually people won't even talk to me." I was like, "Well, he needs help. His car can't go anywhere. And, we're not going to just leave him on the side of the road. I had the stop sign. Like, we're not just going to leave him on the side of the road like this, right?" So the thing happened at 12 noon on the dot, you guys. By the time we got off the phone with the insurance, with the police not coming and everything, and with the tow truck, it was around 1:30. My kids by that time, shaken, not stirred, hungry after a morning of tennis. And I had got them out of the house without breakfast because they were like, it was so early. They were like, they didn't feel like eating. We'll eat after tennis. So they had worked up an appetite. And so my littlest one is like, "Mom, I'm starving." Like, and the man's car won't move. I'm on the show phone with the insurance and everything. And I was like, "I know, baby, we'll go get some food as soon as we take care of all of this stuff. You see, we're in the middle. I appreciate your patience. Just try to put the AC on, sit in the car." And so now we're on this parkway and traffic is building up, right? And so I'm waving cars around us because it was a 2-lane on the side that the man's car was stalled on. And so I'm waving cars around every time I see cars speeding. I'm telling you, this man, he was going at least 50 miles an hour during this thing. The only thing he could do was swerve. The only thing he could do was swerve. And thank God there was no oncoming traffic. thank God there was nobody behind me or in the other lane. It was just like a perfect storm of, it ended up being a beautiful accident, you guys. It was crazy. Knock on wood, don't need another one. And so my sons are in the car, and then my husband ended up just like leaving. I was like, oh, he didn't say shit to me. He just left. I was like, oh, he must be leaving, because he had actually heard me tell the boys we're going to leave soon. So I thought he heard that and left. So I go back over to the man and I was like, okay, sir, I said, we've been over here with us for an hour and a half. I definitely have to go take care of my kids. Call me if you need anything. Be sure you let the tow truck people know to take you home instead of to the shop, because based off what your insurance said, and we got everything straight, right? I ended up taking the boys home. I think we stopped at McDonald's and then I took them home. Yeah, I stopped at McDonald's, took them home. And then I went and got me a salad and came back home. Husband wasn't home yet. I was like, husband, where are you? He said, I had just went to that park and used the bathroom. He said, I'm back over here with Joe. I said, oh, he's like, yeah. He said, I'm not going to leave him out here. He said, I don't have nothing to do. I'm going to just stay with Joe and we're going to wait for the tow truck. So him and Joe are on the side of the road waiting for the tow truck. Now I told you it happened at noon. We left at 1:30. I talked to husband again by around 1:45. So when 2:30 came around and husband still wasn't home, I called again. I was like, hey, babe, what's going on? He said, we're still waiting on the tow truck. I was like, no way. He said, yeah. He's like, I was like, what are you guys doing? He said, I'm just talking. He said, this is a really nice man. He said, and he's amazed that we were even helping him. So nice. He's like, usually people want to fight after a thing. I don't get enough things to know. But he said, yeah, the man said, usually people want to fight or yell or something. And we were just so calm. And he was very like, you guys are so nice. And then he ended up calling me back and saying that the tow truck called and said the nearest one was a half hour away and they wouldn't be there till 3:30, you guys. 3:30. The thing happened at 12 noon. The police didn't want to come. Oh, and then one of the cars I ended up trying to flag over ended up turning on some siren lights. It was a police. And they had just happened to be driving around the community. And I was like, oh, you guys came? He said, no. He said, did you guys call this in? We said, yeah. He said, and what'd they tell you? And we told him that they said, well, since there was no injuries, the police wouldn't be coming and to just work it out with insurance. He said, we don't say that. He said, Sacramento PD says that, or the sheriff says that, but Elk Grove, we don't say that. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's what they told us. He's like, well, let me check on that. He thought we were lying, y'all. He ends up getting on his special phone and calling. And he's like, yeah, did you guys get a report of an accident on Whitelock in Carinata? And we're like, yeah. They were like, yeah. He's like, what'd you tell him? He said, oh, yeah, we told him to work it out because we weren't sending nobody. He's like, and the cop's mouth literally opened. Now, I did notice the cop noticed my locked and loaded shirt. Yeah. But he ended up just saying, well, we can take a report, but we don't really need to. Looks like you guys are taking care of it. So they didn't help. Even though they showed up, they still didn't help. It was very crazy. So 3.5 hours after the impact, the man's car is finally getting towed away. My husband ends up giving him a ride to his house. And I don't know why the man didn't get in the car with the tow truck, but my husband said he just wanted to make sure the man was okay. And the man had mentioned he needed to go to the store. He said he was on his way to Metro to take care of his phone, wasn't working, and he needed his phone. And darn, now this was his only car. Oh yeah, and you guys, the man's car was only 2 weeks old. It was only 2 weeks old. Oh my gosh, he could have been a lot madder, but he was patient and kind also. So my husband ends up giving him a ride home so he could take him to the Metro store for him. He's like, you're going to take me to the Metro? He said, yeah. He said, you have another way to get there? The man said, no. He said, well, then I'll wait for you to go in the house and get what you need so we can go to the Metro. So then he goes to the Metro, and because the man's accent was still so thick, he needed help in the Metro store. He ends up coming outside and getting my husband from the car from waiting for him and was like, can you help me? My husband ends up going into the store with the man and basically trying to help him understand more, and then took the man home. The man ends up inviting him in his house, you guys. Huge, gigantic, at least 3,200 square foot house. Huge. Just like the houses we were going to see. But it was in a very different area. Like the man, my husband said the man was far from home. He must have been on his way home going down the road that fast. And so they get to the house. The man invites him in and was just so thanking him. He was like, I just can't believe how kind you and your family have been to me. You and your wife are so kind. Thank you so much. And the man had taken him out while they were out. The man put gas in my husband's car and took him out to McDonald's. He's like, you hungry? You hungry? And he's like, I'm a little hungry. So he's like, can we stop at McDonald's? And so he ended up getting husband some French fries and got him a burger. And then they went back to the house and they ate it. And the man ended up saying, well, that was my only car. If I need to go to work, can I call you? If I need something, can I call you? My husband said, yeah, sure. No problem. So you guys just heard me say, oh, bye, Hubs. Where's my husband on his way to, you guys? The man, and then this morning I get up and I was like, I want to call the man and make sure that he's okay. Because I'm telling you, we saw the underside of that man's car. And for him to have got out without a scratch, his car could still, the only thing messed up was his tire and the bumper it came off. It was a little Ford Focus. And so I got up this morning with him on my mind and I was just hoping he was okay. And I was like, darn, I don't have his number, but the insurance company does. I wonder if they'll give it to me. And instead of worry about it, I mentioned it to my husband. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm sure he's fine. I was like, but you have his number. He said, you'll call him if you need to. He'll call if you need something, right? He's like, yeah, he'll call. You guys, 4 minutes later, my phone rings. And he says, yeah, hello. This whole Vekata, you remember me from yesterday? And I was like, yeah, I was just thinking about you. Are you okay today? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. He said, your husband's nice man. He said, if I need anything, to let him know, but I called and he's not answering his phone. Will you see if he can come get me at 6? And, will you see if he can give me a ride? And so I bring the phone to husband and let them talk. And husband's like, yeah, sure, I'm on my way. He said, I'll be there by like 8:30. So that was my husband on his way to go to the man to go take him to do what he needs to do because of this beautiful accident that ended up being a lemon drop made out of the lemons of what could have been a horrible thing. So anyway, we get to the husband gets to the man's house. He sends me pictures, you guys. And in the man's house, the man is a freaking Buddhist monk. Buddha's all over the man's house. All of the finery of a Buddhist temple everywhere in this man's house, you guys. And that's part of why I feel like it was just such a peaceful thing, is because he was peace. And we are peace also. But his whole vibe at his house, I'll post the pictures. Well, oh yeah, that's the other story I have to tell you. His whole vibe of his house is just like Buddha vibes, right? Incense, oranges, like just that whole thing everywhere. And then in the back, it was like full on little temple. It was like, and they have like events there for that specifically and like have meetings about it and stuff. And so that's where husband's on his way to right now. The man's fine, where our cars are going to get fixed. And I think we just made a friend, you guys. So that's part of the story time. Isn't that fabulous? So I could have reacted a whole other way. He could have reacted a whole other way. However, because we all chose peace, because peace is what we're around. Oh yeah, so then the other part of his Buddha thing, so I told you his house is full of Buddhas. Right now in my house, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3 Buddhas, huge Buddhas. I have like this huge Buddha lamp, and I love Buddha. I love Kuan Yin. I love compassion. I'm into that stuff, right? And those symbols. And so in my house also, I have hecka many Buddhas. You guys, amazing, right? So then, while I'm home, I hadn't got to be on my phone all morning. I'm eating my salad, waiting for husband to come home from this adventure, on Instagram, posting videos, liking videos, getting snarky in the comments, or whatever. Dr. Heavenly had just liked my last video. If you go on my Instagram at LRGA Curves, you'll see my last video was, excuse me, I'll be getting everything I want for, or whatever. It's a very cute little video I made. And it was super positive. And then I posted Busta Rhymes reel, a Busta Rhymes reel. And then the screen on my Instagram goes white. And then another thing popped up and it says, your account has been compromised. You cannot use your account unless you change your password right here. And it won't allow me to use the forgot password link. And the password was like saved, but it keeps telling me it's the wrong password. And I've been in this loop. I'm pretty sure my Instagram got hacked, you guys. I'm pretty freaking sure my Instagram is hacked. Well, I know it did because I got a thing from Instagram that says it's been compromised and they're not letting me change my password. So if you see any additional posts on LRGA Curves after yesterday, none of those are me, you guys. I'm very upset. You know what? This is crazy. Is I'm a little more upset about my Instagram getting hacked than I am about my car needing work. Isn't that weird? Well, I guess it's because you know how when you're building your socials, it just takes time. And I'm the only LRGA Curves. I'll have to, you know how much content is in my freaking LRGA Curves Instagram? Yeah, so now how can you call me? Exactly, Sarah. That's why I said I have to talk to you. I have, exactly. I mean, I do have alternate freaking Instagrams, but with Instagram not allowing me, and I have two-factor authentication or whatever it's freaking called, and they're not even letting me use that to gain my access back. They didn't ask me, can you have 2 friends identify you? They are just looping me in this thing that says change password, old password, new password. When you click forgot password, it says can't reset password, change password, old password, new password. And you can even tell from my tone, I'm far more vexed about the lemon of Instagram being hacked than I was about my beautiful accident. Isn't that crazy? I need to get my priorities straight. But so that was another lemon. I still haven't decided how to make a LemonDrop out of that yet. But at this point, I guess I'll have to start from scratch. Oh, darn. My whole LRGA vibe. Damn. So then I'm like, well, why did that happen? Why did that happen? And you know what had happened was right before it. Okay, so I posted that one cool video. And then I posted the Busta Rhymes video. And then I decided to go into, the requests for people who have been requesting to be my friend or whatever, right? And then there was some hidden requests. And the last thing I did, now that I think of it, before the screen went white, was I had opened the requests to see who requested me. I didn't click any of their links or videos, obviously. And I just went through and deleted those people. And that's when I got this thing. Isn't that freaking crazy? So I do have like larger life, which is obviously for my financial services. And I have larger homes, which is for my real estate. But you guys know me as LRGA Curves. You know what I'm saying? So I may have to, I'm just so, oh my gosh. Starting from scratch just feels so arcane and like tedious. No, I did do that to you yesterday, Shaby. I totally did. I was like, hopefully they'll see that it's me, but I don't have a picture on there yet. Yeah, that's me. That's totally me. And I did try to go through and see the LRGA Curves people and try to go through with my larger life, and I'll be going through. And so if you get something from larger life, that's me. At least that account is up and active without too much to do. And I'll just start from scratch and do what I have to do. You know what I building, such is the journey, such is the freaking journey. Yeah, larger living. Yeah, okay, yeah, I have several. So yeah, I have, and they're all about larger. Yes. Isn't that a crazy story time, you guys? Isn't that a freaking crazy June 16th in the world of LRGA Curves? Cur A and Z all got together and had a party in my life yesterday. Very crazy. So then I have this mentor that I'm working with. Very awesome mentor. And we were actually supposed to have a 2:00 yesterday. And I call her and I'm like, oh, I won't be able to make the 2:00. Just had a collision. Everybody's fine though. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. And she's like, okay. So by the time I call her back at the end of the day to check in and just let her know everything went well, she said, I had mentioned to her that, I said it was so interesting just the way everything happened. Like, had I not paused for my husband at those several stop signs, had we not stopped on the side of the road to tell him we were going to Dave's Hot Chicken, had he not turned first, had we not wanted to go see the Ferraris and the nice houses, had, shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't, right? And it was just, you can make yourself crazy with stuff like that. And I'm just trying to rest in the gratefulness of the outcome of everybody being okay. But it really does make you wonder just about the timing of the universe. Yes, exactly, Neon. Exactly. The timing of the universe and how when things are going to happen, they're going to happen. And it's what you do before, after, and during. And so part of me is almost feeling like, well, look, I didn't even get mad at the guy after the thing. Like, how did I get hacked? Right after we were good Samaritans. My son says we were just like Spider-Man. We just helped, huh? And because it's kind of like you feel like you don't deserve for like to get hacked, or you don't deserve for situations that are challenging to happen. But after hanging out with the Millionaire Maker on Monday, that's what makes champions. That's what makes the mindset that's required to sustain greatness is challenges, is the struggle, is the strife, is the tension and the stress that you are under, and how you perform under that stress makes you an even better performer. You see what I'm saying? So it's not a deservability thing. It's this is helping my character thing. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to share that story with you, because lemons can make lemonade. They can make lemon drops. They can make so many different things, but it's up to us. It's totally our reaction to the action of the situation is exactly the thing that is going to determine how much butterfly dust we gain. You know how the butterflies have dust on their wings that makes them be able to fly, right? And you ever feel like sometimes in life there's things that happen that your butterfly dust just got rubbed off, and oh, you won't be able to make a flight for a minute till that butterfly dust comes back. If the butterfly dust of what happened yesterday is going to be able to make me and my entire family and this man, our lives are all already better. That man needed a connection. We needed a connection. I needed to be humbled and tempered, obviously. I need to slow down and pay more freaking attention. Pay attention to blind spots. You know what I'm saying? There's so many lessons that I was able to gain from yesterday. And then in talking to my sons, they also noticed some things. They were like, "Oh, Mom, we didn't do our prayer." Because usually when we get in the car, I have this prayer that I've said for 40 years. I've said the same exact prayer when we get in the car, in anybody's car. I say it out loud. I make everybody say amen. Yesterday morning, I did not do that prayer. And so my oldest son was like, "Mom, we didn't do the prayer." I was like, "We sure did." And he's like, "We need to do that from now on." I was like, "Okay." And then my youngest son, later on, he was like, "Mom, isn't it so weird that I almost forgot that even happened, but it happened?" He said, "I could be upset about it, but I totally forgot it happened." And so there was just blessings all around within all of that. No mental trauma, no physical trauma. It was just all about a weird, needed connection. Let me look at these comments, see what you guys are saying. Thanks for paying attention to my story. I know I can go on and on, but I just wanted to share that with you because it was a beautiful example to me of just the universing and the great sourcing and God guiding. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, eep. Let's see. Hello, call me after. I can't call you. But here, and then I got mad. Look, and then I got mad after Instagram doesn't have a contact number, no help department or anything, And so I just deleted Instagram from my phone, but I'll put it back so I can get Larger Life up and running. And then maybe I'll even change that handle to the LRGA Curves or something like that so that people can know that it's me. I don't really know. We'll figure it out. It's a work in progress, such is life. Oh no, praise the Lord, they're okay. Exactly. 911 doesn't come for anything anymore. And we live in a very nice city, you guys, that's very well funded. Because I used to live in Berkeley, California. And anybody that knows Berkeley, California knows that BPD doesn't respond to nothing unless it's fire, flood, or blood. They are not coming unless you need some body tape. Okay. And Berkeley is pretty ta-ta. And then I've lived in Vallejo too. And Vallejo, the freaking police department went bankrupt. So they definitely wasn't coming nowhere. If you had it was like living in the wild, wild west in Vallejo. Because there was no freaking police department basically because they had went bankrupt. So yeah, 911, they only come for if you're protesting, I guess. Anyway, whose fault was the accident? How are they giving out tickets if the cops aren't not coming now? Okay, so the cop that did end up coming, he looked at what happened. He even was like, "There's nothing that's due here. Just let the insurance companies take care of it." And my insurance company already said, since I had the stop sign, that's going to be the tip, is I had the stop sign. And they did show up, but it wasn't from us calling, but it was the universe having them show up. So more awesomeness. Yeah, it was really nice of us, and it was nice of him to accept the help, He has no luck. Yeah, a 2-week-old car. Yeah, a 2-week-old car. Man. Someone hit me in 2010. My new car was totaled. Oh Oh, mademoiselle, and Corey was telling me that statistically, I had no idea that when you get a new car, most of the time something will happen to it within the first 2 months. And I had no idea. I'm glad I didn't even have that for a reference point when I got the car that was in the thing yesterday. That was new to me in 2019, and nothing happened. So thank God I didn't have that in my freaking cerebral cortex as an idea of something that could happen. LRGA Curves, do not say at the end of this, your husband left you and now is wanting to marry this man. No. Not at all. Not at all. But he is, my husband loves monks. He loves Tibetan monks. He loves peace. He loves meditation. He loves yoga. He loves prayer. We burn incense all the time. So it was just a vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was totally his vibe also to be invited to this man's house where all the things that and all the accoutrements that he usually uses in his own thing were like this man's entire freaking house. It was so cool. I hope you had taped the conversation when he said, I'm okay. I hope my insurance company did, because when the insurance company had us on the phone, he kept saying, I'm okay, I'm okay. So, yeah, hopefully. What's good, Corey? Love you, girl. Yes, a Buddhist school of is he a Buddhist school of thought? I don't know. I can't wait to find out more from husband about what all is exactly going over there. I have a massive Buddha head in my garden. Right on, Candor. Exactly. Buddha's what's up. I would every month change the password. Yeah, from now on. Yeah, note to self, Candor. Note to freaking self. How can you call me, Sarah? You're going. Well, I'll friend you from Larger Life. Okay. Media can become an addiction. Yes. Okay. Candor. On that, tell the truth, shame the devil again. I told Corey just yesterday, after I told her how I got hacked and I couldn't have access, that I had just told myself earlier this week. You guys, talk about speaking your word. I just told myself earlier this week how much easier it would be and how much more productive I would be in a day if I didn't have Instagram on my phone now either, because I got rid of TikTok last year. I got rid of TikTok off my phone because it was like eating my time up. It was not productive at all. I was great at making TikToks, but TikToks, the way they were paying me, wasn't as much as I needed. So, and the business that pays me wasn't paying me as much as I needed because I was making TikTok videos. So, I deleted TikTok off my phone. I do have TikTok. You see it right there. LRGA Curves on TikTok. The LRGA Curves on TikTok. And I have 25,000 subs. I'm followers on TikTok. And I just shut it off. Shut it down. Didn't even try to translate them to YouTube because it was consuming so much of my time. The freaking FYP page gets me every time, you guys. So I had just said to myself, dang, if I didn't have Instagram, I would imagine how much even more productive you'd be, Larja. And the universe said, okay, hack. Yes. So the addiction, cold turkey addiction. I just got something from you right now, Sarah. Right on. I just got something. LRGA Curves always have a back. Yep. Always have a back. Yep. Does that mean the group chat is gone too? Hey, it appears I don't have any access to any of my old group chats. You're some of my faves chat. I don't have access to our Ladies Who Kiki. I don't have access to Grown and Sexy. I don't have access to freaking Allegedly Messy. None of my chats do I have access to. Hopefully they'll let me back in as a guest, Let's see. Hey everybody. Yep, the LemonDrops. is having backups. Yes, the LemonDrop is having, that's a great point. Candor. That is excellent note to self. So from now on, when I do backups, like I'm going to start a backup YouTube channel soon too, um, for just in case of anything happening, and the other Instagram accounts I had wasn't necessarily a backup. It was more of, oh, let me have this for my business over here. Let me have this for my fun. Let me have this for this business. You know what I mean? And so I was kind of doing them like that. But yeah, let's see. Hey, Corey. Oh, send me a mail. Yes, we'll see it together. Yes, I hate hackers. Yes, that was me. Thanks for accepting. I didn't want to keep you guys long this morning. I know larger life. I have a larger life, larger curves, larger homes, and a live large, actually. I'm good with the larges. Woo, child. Yes. Send me the email. I'll friend you from the other place. No problem. Bravo might take you up for writing RH knows they need help. Yeah, I could definitely help. I could help. Definitely. Paul Green was in my house. Thanks for coming through. One Who Cares was in my house. Right on. You guys, I love you guys. It's a mindset. Yes, always try your best. It's a mind. And hey, you guys, the veil is thin right now. The veil is definitely thin. Stuff I'm thinking is happening within 48 hours. So try to keep your thoughts on a nice high vibration. Try to only speak the things you want, even in jest, even in kidding. Try to speak the things you want. It's time to keep our chakras aligned, you guys. Our words have power. Our thoughts have power. Hey, and I bet had my mind been in a different frequency yesterday, everything could have been worse. Everything could have been worse. But my frequency was so high after being out with my family and the vitamin D, moving my body, having some fun. You know what I'm saying? It was just a beautiful morning. So it's definitely a mindset. I appreciate that. Yes. Hello. It's good mindset to have. Yeah. And that's the only thing we have control over. I only have control over my mind. I would not have been able to make the man from yesterday be calm with my mind. He had to have that in his own mind also, and the bottom line was, as long as we were all fine, there was really nothing to be upset about. Materials can be replaced, but lives can't. So it's the mindset. Love you too. Love you more. All right, right on. Yes, I just got the mail. And we're coming right up on an hour, you guys. I have some other stuff to go take care of. So I just wanted to thank you again for coming through the LRGA Curves for story time. I did have some other things I was going to talk about, but I feel like it's a beautiful time to end here. Maybe I'll go live later if I get some time, or make some time in my schedule for later. I'm looking forward to, isn't Vanderpump Rules having something else tonight? Even though finally it's all over. I think they were having a unseen something or uncut something tonight, because I sure was addicted to Scandival. And other than that, you guys, I will try to come back to these YouTube streets here soon. Keep an eye out for me for the people who are in my threads on LRGA Curves and Instagram. Keep an eye out for me and accept the friend request from LRGA Life, if you don't mind. And I appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming through. Make sure you make it a great day, because you have the power to do that. Speak your word, make it plain, and you can have and do be whatever you want in this life, you guys. It's all about mindset, okay? Make it a great day. Smash my buttons. Ring my bells. See you in the next video.